Chapter 2 Review. There were a lot of different multiplication skills that we learned this chapter. Let's take a look at some questions that touched on lots of different skills of those skills that we learned. Alrighty, question number 1. It says Alex has 175 baseball cards. Rodney has 3 times as many baseball cards as Alex. How many fewer cards does Alex have than Rodney? Now the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to underline the question that they're asking me. How many fewer cards does Alex have than Rodney? Alright, well I need to figure out how many Alex has, and I need to figure out how many Rodney has. So I'm going to set up my model. I have Alex, and I have Rodney. Alex has 175. Rodney has 3 times as many as Alex. So he has 175, 175, 175. He has 175 3 times. Then my problem says, how many fewer? When I see how many fewer, I'm going to subtract. So I need to figure out how many Rodney has, how many Alex has. I already know that. Then I need to subtract them. In order for me to figure out how many Rodney has, well, I need to do some multiplication. Or I could do repeated addition, because remember, multiplication is the same as repeated addition. So let's take a look at 175, and there are 3 of them, so I'm going to multiply it times 3. I can multiply a few different ways. I can use partial products. I could use distributive property. I can use regrouping. There are lots of different strategies I can use. I can use the box model. I'm going to start with regrouping for this problem. 5 times 3 is 15. I'm going to put my 5 and carry my 1. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 more is 22. I put my 2 and carry my 2. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 more is 5. So this is the total that Rodney has. Now I know Alex has 175, and because my problem says how many fewer, I'm going to subtract these amounts. So I need off to the side 525 minus 175. I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 5 is 0. I can't take 7 away from 2. I have to borrow. 12 minus 7 is 5, and 4 minus 1 is 3. So how many fewer cards does Alex have than Rodney? 350 is my answer. Okay, let's go on to our next problem. Haley has bottles that hold 678 pennies. About how many pennies does she have if she has 6 bottles filled with pennies? Now, whenever I see that word about, it means that I need to round. Now, I can set up my problem because each penny holds 678 pennies, and she has 6 bottles full. Now, I don't have to multiply this out right now. It says about in my problem. So I am going to round my number, my larger number. I don't need to round my 6. That's an easy number to multiply with. So I'm going to round 678. And in order to make it really easy for me to multiply these two numbers together, I'm going to round to the hundreds place. So when I'm looking at 678, the closest hundreds place is 700. And now I'm going to multiply 700 times 6. And when I do that, I get 7 times 6 is 42, and I have 2 zeros because I'm multiplying in the hundreds place. So my answer is 4,200. Now again, I could have done all the work and multiply this whole problem out, but my problem is asking me for about. It's not asking me for my exact answer. Just want something close. Next problem. Lafayette County has a population of 7,022 people. Columbia County's population is 8 times as great as Lafayette County's. What is Columbia County's? That is my question that I'm trying to answer. Alright, well I have Lafayette County, and I know that Columbia County is 8 times as great, so all I need to do is multiply my two numbers together. 7,022 times 8. Now for this one, I'm going to multiply using partial products. That's a method that I could use to multiply. So I'm going to start with my thousands place, and I have 7,000. I move to my hundreds place, and I don't have anything there. My tens place is 20, and my ones place is 2. So what I did first is expand my number to 7,022. 2. Now I need to distribute, which means I need to multiply each part times my 8. I multiply these pieces. 7,000 times 8 is 56,000. 8 times 20. 8 times 2 is 16, and I have 1 0, so I have 160. And 2 times 8 is 16 again. And now I need to add my partial products together. So my answer is 56,178. And I am talking about population, so I'm talking about people. Now, I could have multiplied this out using a different method. I could have used the regrouping method, which a lot of you favor. 8 times 2 is 16. I put my 6, carry my 1. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 1 more is 17. So I put my 7, carry my 1. 8 times 0 is 0, plus 1 more is 9. 8 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Excuse me. And 7 times 8 is 56. Okay, notice both ways I get the same answer. So it doesn't matter which method you use as long as you have a method that you like. Next problem. School pennants cost $18 each. Miss Lee says she will pay $146 for 7 pennants. Is her answer reasonable? Is her answer reasonable? Explain. Now, in order to explain if somebody's answer is reasonable, I'm going to need to find my range. I need to round up and I need to round down. First thing I need to do is identify my problem. School pennants cost $18 each, and she needs 7 of them. So, my multiplication problem is going to be 18 times 7. Now, in order for me to find if 146 is reasonable or not, I'm going to need to take my 18 and round it up and down, and multiply each piece times 7 to find my range. So, let's start with rounding up, because if I round 18 normally, it's going to round up. It's going to round up to 20. So I'm going to multiply 20 times 7. That's going to be the first problem I'm going to work out. Then I'm going to have to round 18 down. And when I round 18 down, I round it down to 10 times 7. So I'm going to solve those two pieces. 20 times 7 is 140. And 10 times 7 is 70. So now I have my two numbers that my actual product should fit between. I have 140. I'm going to start actually with my smaller estimate. So I have 70 and then 140. Now, 18 is pretty close to 20, so I would think that my actual number would be close to 140, but it's going to be less than 140 because my 18 over here is less than 20. So when I take a look at the product that they gave me, the estimate, she said she'll pay $146. Well, 146 doesn't fit in this range. So is her answer reasonable? My answer would be no. It's not reasonable because it doesn't fit in my range. 20 is greater than 18, so 140 should be greater than what other number they gave me. Well, 146 is greater than 140, so no, it's not reasonable. All right. Next problem. Caleb draws 14 dogs on each of 4 posters. He draws 18 cats on each of 6 other posters. If he draws 5 more dogs on each poster with dogs, how many dogs and cats does he draw? That's a really big problem, so let's break it down. He draws 14 dogs on each of 4 posters. That's like 14 times 4. And that'll give me my dogs. Then he draws 18 cats on each of 6 other posters. Then he draws 5 more dogs on each poster with dogs. 5 more dogs on each poster with dogs. And there are 4 posters with dogs. Okay, so you see how this problem got really complicated really fast. Draws 14 dogs on each of 4 posters. 14 times 4. Then he draws 18 cats on each of 6 other posters. if he draws 5 more dogs on each poster with dogs, how many dogs and cats, dogs and cats does he draw? So each of these pieces I am adding together. Now I have 3 multiplication problems that I have to solve. I have to solve 14 times 4, I need to solve 18 times 6, and then I need to solve 5 times 4, because like, after he draws 14 dogs on those 4 posters, he's going and drawing 5 more dogs on each poster. Okay, so let's start with 14 times 4. I'm going to do it off to the side. I'm going to use my regrouping method for this one. So 4 times 4 is 16. I put my 6, I carry my 1. 4 times 1 is 1 plus 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 more is 5. So 56. 56 dogs on those 4 posters. Plus 18 times 6. I'm going to use my area model for this one. So I'm going to draw my box just so that you can see different ways to work these problems out. I'm going to split 18 up into 10 and 8. And I'm going to multiply that times 6. So 18 times 6. 6 times 10 is 60, and 6 times 8 is 48. Now I need to add those 2 pieces together. 60 plus 48. I add my 1's. 0 plus 8 is 8, and then 4 plus 6 is 10. So that is 108 cats. And then I need to add my extra piece. These are those extra dogs that he drew, and that's 20. My last step is to add all of those pieces together. So I'm going to start with adding, let's see, it makes more sense for me to add 20 plus 108 first, because those are easy for me to add. And remember, I can add whatever I want first. I can use the commutative property and decide which ones I want to add first. So I'm going to add these over here. I'm going to add my 1's, so 0 plus 8 is 8, 2 plus 0 is 2, and there's no hundreds other than over here, so bring that one down. Plus 56. 8 plus 6 is 14. Carry 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 5 more is 8, and then I just have 1 over there. So how many dogs and cats does he draw? He draws 184 dogs and cats. Okay, really long problem, lots of stuff going on, 18 and 6 and 5 more on each poster with dogs, so lots and lots of things going on. The way to work these problems out is to step by step by step work each piece out. Alright, next problem. Simple multiplication problem, although some of you aren't quite getting every single step, so what I suggest is that you work it out more than one way. Work it out using regrouping and then use a different one of the strategies that we've learned. So let's start with the regrouping strategy. 5 times 7 is 35. I put my 5, I carry my 3. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 3 more is 3. 5 times 1 is 5. And 5 times 9 is 45. Okay? Now I'm going to work it out a different way, just to make sure that I got my answer right. I'm going to use, let's use distributive property so we can remember what that looks like. I have 5 times 9,107. Alright, my first step is to expand my number. So 5 times 9,000 plus 100 plus 7. Okay. Second step is to distribute. So that takes my 5 and multiply it times each piece. So 5 times 9,000 plus 5 times 100 plus 5 times 7. Now I need to multiply each piece to find my partial products. 5 times 9 is 45,000 plus 5 times 100 is 500 plus 5 times 7 is 35. Now I just have to add those pieces together. Well, I'm looking at my problem and I look at the ones place, I have a 5 and 0, so 5. Tens place a 3 and then 0, so 3. Hundreds place 5 and a 0, and then nothing else in my thousands place other than my 45. So I bring all that down and I get the same answer both times. That's what you want to make sure you get, the same answer both times. If you don't, then go back and work it out a different way. Make sure you get that same answer 2 times. Doesn't hurt to do a little extra work. Next problem. Now this one's a little complicated again, so we got to make sure we have step by step by step. There are 6 rows with 18 chairs in each row. 6 rows, 18 chairs in each row. In the center of the chairs, there are 4 rows with 6 chairs are brown. The rest of the chairs are blue. How many are blue? Okay, I'm going to draw a picture to help me with this one. I have 6 rows with 18 chairs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 rows, 18 chairs in each row. Then it says 4 rows of 6 chairs are blue. So I have in the middle here these 4 rows, and 6 of them are brown. Are brown. I should do that in a different color then. These are brown. I want to know how many are blue, and the blue ones are the rest of them. So I need to figure out what is all the way around this little box that I made in the middle. In order for me to do that, I'm going to figure out how many total chairs I have. I'm going to figure out how many are in that brown section in here. After I figure out that brown section, I can figure out how many are blue, which is what's all the way around here. Okay, so let's figure out our total. In order to do that, I have to take my 6 and my 18 and multiply them together. I'm going to use partial products to do this. So I'm going to expand 18 to 10 and 8, and then distribute my 6. 60 plus 48, and that's equal to 108. Okay, that's my total chairs. Now I need to take my brown piece, and my brown piece is 4 and 6. So 4 times 6 is 24, and those are my brown ones. In order for me to find my blue ones, I need to take my brown and subtract it from my total. So 108 minus 24. 8 minus 4 is 4. Now I'm going to borrow over here. That becomes a 0, and my 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. So how many blue chairs do I have? I have 84 blue chairs. Okay? Next problem. Ivan has 6 times as many blue beads as red beads. 6 times as many. He has 49 red and blue beads in all. How many blue beads does he have? Okay? We have that times as many as type of thing going on, so that is always my indication that I should probably draw a model. So I have blue beads, and I have red beads, and he has 6 times as many blue as red. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blue to 1 red. Then it says my total number of beads, 49, blue and red. Okay? And I want to know how many are blue. That's what I'm trying to figure out. How many are blue? Now that's that last step that a lot of you guys are missing. You're solving for your missing variable, but you're not going back and reading the problem. So make sure that you circle that section that you're solving for. Alright, now, we don't know how many are in each of these boxes, so those are our n's. That's our variable. We have to count up all of our n's. In this case, we have 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 n's. So 7 times n is equal to 49. And when I solve for that n is equal to 7, because 7 times 7 is 49. I'm going to replace my n with 7. Now, because I've circled my blue already, I know that I have to go back and solve for that. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sevens. 6 times 7 is equal to 42. So when it asks me how many blue beads does he have, remember I have to solve for that. He has 42 blue. This is the last step, and again, you guys are forgetting this step. You're solving for n, but you're not solving for what the question's asking. Make sure you're going back and solving for what that question is asking you for. All right, we have a few more problems we're going to work out. Julia saw 5 times as many cars as truck in the parking lot. If she saw 30 cars and trucks all together in the parking lot, how many were trucks? Okay, again, I see that times as many as. It helps if I draw a model, so I'm going to do my cars and trucks. And she has 5 times as many cars as trucks. All together, she saw 30. And then my problem is asking me over how many trucks. So I'm going to start off with circling my trucks so I know what I'm solving for. I don't know anything else, so all of these are n's. I'm going to count my total n's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total n's. So my problem is 6 times n is equal to 30. 6 times what is equal to 30? Well, 6 times 5, so n is equal to 5. I'm going to replace all of my n's with 5's. And then I'm going to take a look at my page. And I've circled my trucks already, so I know that's what I'm solving for. And I've already replaced my n with 5, and I see that that's my only box. So I have my answer right there. I have 5 trucks. 5 trucks. Okay? Circle that part that you're solving for, and then finish your problem so you don't forget that section. Alright, let's take a look at the next one. Which equation best represents the comparison sentence? 32 is 8 times as many as 4. We've talked about these problems before. The best way for you guys to solve these problems is for you to cross out those words and replace them with what they represent. Is means equals. Times as many as means multiply. So when you do that, you can look at your problem and rewrite it. 32 equals 8 times 4. Now, this also is the same as 8 times 4 equals 32. We can flip these around, and it doesn't change our problem. All we do is change what side the equal sign's on. Okay, your problem doesn't change at all. Let's take a look at our possible answers. 32 equals 8 times 4. Hey, look, that's what we got right there. So this could be an answer. 32 times 8 equals 4? No way. 32 equals 8 plus 4. 8 plus 4 is equal to 12. That's not it. And 8 plus 4 is equal to 32. That's not it either. So notice how I went through all of my answers. Don't just stop at A and say, oh, that's it. Make sure you go through all of the answers and make sure that none of the other ones could be a possible answer. Okay. Just a few more. Now I noticed this one on your quiz that some of you guys were missing this because you weren't thinking about the distributive property. The distributive property takes this number, and remember our steps. Step number 1 is to expand. So 9 times 400 plus 70 plus 5. Step number 2 is to distribute. That's what they're looking for. Just the distributive property where I take that 9 and multiply it times each piece. 9 times 70. 9 times 5. That is the distributive property. When you see this number, the number you're multiplying times that large number in every single section, and you see this number, your large number that's broken up into pieces, you're expanding it, and then you see each of those pieces multiplied times your small number. So when I look at my possible answers, well, A shows me 9 times 4, 9 times 7, 9 times 5. You guys might think that would be the answer because you see a 4, 7, and a 5 here, but think about place value. That 4 is in the hundreds place, not in the ones, and that 7 is in the tens place, not in the ones. So that can't be our answer. The next one, they have some different numbers here. Again, my 4 is in the hundreds place, not the ones place. Okay, I have my 4 in the hundreds, 7 in the tens, 5 in the ones. That one looks promising. My next one, 4 in the hundreds, 7's in the hundreds place. That can't be it. I'm expanding this number in my distributive property. Okay, so when I look back at all of my answers, C is my answer. I'm distributing, I'm expanding my big number, and then I'm taking my smaller number and multiplying it times each piece I expanded. 2 more problems to go. Alrighty, Pedro gets 8 hours of sleep each night. How many hours does he sleep in a year with 365 days? Well, if he gets 8 hours each night, and there are 365 days, I'm going to be multiplying 8 times 365. 365 times 8. Now I can do this a few different ways, and you should do it at least 2 ways on your test. So maybe you use the box model first, or the area model. 8 times 365. 8 times 300 is 2,400. 8 times 6 is 48, and that's in the hundreds place. And then 8 times 5 is 40. And I'm going to add all those pieces together. 2,400 plus 480 plus 40, 0, 2, carry my 1, 9, 2. Okay, so I got 2,920. I'm going to multiply again, and this time I'm going to use, let's say I use partial products for this one. So 365 times 8. I'm going to expand 365 times 8 times 8 times 8. 300 times 8 is 2,400. 8 times 6 is 48, and I have my 0, and that is 40. And then I add 0, 2, carry my 1, 9, and 2. Hey, look, I got the same answer here and here. That's a good sign. Let's try one more way. How about this time we use regrouping strategy? So 365 times 8. 8 times 5 is 40. I put my 0, carry my 4. 8 times 6 is 48. Plus 4 more is 52. I put my 2, carry my 5. 8 times 3 is 24. Plus 5 more is 29. All right. If I get my same answer 3 times, I can be pretty confident that my answer is 2,920. Okay? Do it more than once. You won't regret it. All right, last problem. Now this is a problem from your quiz that I want to review with you because it has multiple steps and this problem has extra information in it. The table below shows the type of film sold and the number of rolls in one pack at the local gift shop. Okay. Hannah buys 3 packs of 36 exposure films and 2 packs of 24 exposure films. She uses 8 rolls of film. How many rolls does she have left? Now, we had to use our table, and our table says that there are packs of 4 rolls. This is where a lot of you guys missed the beat here. Each pack has 4 rolls. I don't care about the exposure. I could care less about the exposure. I could care less about the exposure. What I care about is the rolls because it's asking me how many rolls does she have left. Okay? So, if she buys 3 packs of 4 rolls, that's 3 times 4, and that's 12. And then she buys 2 packs of 4 rolls, so that's 2 times 4, and that's 8. And I add 12 plus 8, and I get 20. And that's where a lot of you guys stopped. Most of you got to 20, and then you stopped. Now, it says she uses 8 rolls. So I have to subtract 8 from 20. How many does she have left? She has 12. Okay? Read very carefully. Read each problem. Underline things. Work things out. Make sure you're showing all of your work on your scrap paper. Alrighty. I will see you in the morning for your test.